This is Quentin from Nerd Stuff with another edition of Quick Stuff. And honestly, probably we're going to be on this game for a while when it comes to Quick Stuff. At least one's coming from me. You could, of course, get other ones from other people that aren't this game, but this is Sir, You Are Being Hunted. Version 1.3, to be specific. This game, if you roll around in the indie game community, this is a game that definitely got some traction at several points due to its art style and its content, as well as just being a generally good survival game. I'll talk about it a bit more as we start into the game. I should actually start my timer so that I know that I don't go too far over 10 minutes. But one little thing I will bring up on this start menu, for those of you who are really into gender equality in games or being able to match your gender in games, which I know some people are. It's not a thing that really bugs me, but I know for some people it does. You can, in fact, there's a little bottom here, and you can change it to Madam, you are being hunted. Which all that does is change, really just changes the sound bites. You hear, when you get shot or hurt, you hear a feminine as opposed to a male So, if that's a thing that it matters to you, one way or the other, that's there for you. And it's just one of those nice little features that doesn't do a lot for the game, but it just shows that, hey, that's a little extra consideration. So we're going to play a new game. And let's see here. The first thing you do is choose a profession. You would assume that the gamekeeper is best. But honestly, not really. The bear trap. Does he even have a bear trap? Yeah, you have a large trap and an alarm clock, which is a useful combination to kill one robot. The inventor. The officer. The officer is, in fact, probably the easiest to start with because he has a revolver and a rifle. The cook has a lot of food. The artist has a pipe of tobacco. Just a bunch of extra stuff. The old soak. Has basically booze. But we're just going to go with the default to the honorable choice and actually just start as the aristocrat. All we have is rags or bandages, which isn't nothing. Center Island is rural, and that's always set. And then you can set the other 4 islands, the North Island, Industrial, Mountain, Castle, and then I believe there is a last one. Yeah, is the Fens. So this way, all of our islands, you can set it so that all of your islands are different. If you want, you can actually set what kind of robots show up on the islands. I'm not going to do that for this build. And we're going to build the world. So, as you probably figured right now, the archipelago that we are living in, that we'll be spending the next several episodes in, is procedurally generated. So it's a different game every time you play, though the plot of the game is basically the same, though Mr. Walter, who is our sort of the tutorial narrator or whatever you want to call him, he basically gives us advice throughout the course of the game. Not the biggest of, but he'll explain in a second, but I'll explain it for you. Basically, we've been transported to this mysterious archipelago, our fine aristocrat self, and this archipelago is controlled by man-hunting robots. Now, there is a portal on the center island that if we get, I believe, something like 20 power stones, we can power it up and use it to go home. But that means surviving through the robots, finding the stones, and all that good stuff. Naturally, a lot of the stones are guarded by robots because they know we're looking for them. And so at some point that means having to take the fight back to the robots, which not as easy as it sounds. Unless, of course, well, probably even if you're the officer, it's still fairly difficult. It's not like even once you use up your rifle ammo, unless you find robots that have it, which is tricky. It's no easy task. And I'm really kind of hoping that this whole Let's Play isn't just a loading screen, but it may turn out that way. I've only got 5 minutes left on the clock. Which, you know, if it is, no big deal. You know, the next episode will actually start playing. But I played this game a while ago. Back when I started, it was streaming by myself under my Proto Rebel 88 name. If you want to see some really embarrassing videos that lack polish and terrible audio equipment, by all means, check those out. For those who saw my, found my Fallout Let's Plays to be lacking, technical wise, those will also throw you through a loop. But anyway, I played it, and I know at some point, I just kind of got bored for it. I find often that if I don't have a good reason to keep playing a thing, like, especially for me, a lot of the times, what makes a game or breaks a game for me is the story. I've played games that a lot of people would put down and then light on fire because they had a good story. Rule of Rose is a good example, one of the early Atlas games for the PlayStation 2. It controls like a tank driving through a mudslide made of potatoes. I don't even know what that means, but it's true. And but it had a fantastic story, so I played it the whole way through. Now, this game, doesn't really have a story other than the one that sort of happens in front of you. There are no characters to get attached to except for yourself, which, hopefully I'd like to think you guys can get attached to me and want me to survive, but, that might not be the case. But, well...
Sir, if you can hear this, then the experiment has gone terribly wrong. I fear you may be trapped on the archipelago, but don't panic. The standing stones should be nearby. With them, and some luck, you may still be able to escape. Listen very carefully, and you might just survive. I am afraid pieces of the device are now scattered across the islands. They became quite hot during the experiment, so perhaps you could look for the smoke. Bring any you find back to the standing stones, then we should be able to get you home. I'm dreadfully sorry, sir, but this does mean postponing dinner preparations. I do hope you remember to eat something. You must try to keep your strength up. Perhaps some tea and biscuits from one of the nearby houses? The residents won't mind because they're not at home. Oh, and do be careful, sir. You're being hunted.
Well, crap.